next on our list is one from man Zack himself.
Dude, Outer Darkness. Listen, everybody, this is a hidden gem. The reason why I call it a hidden gem because I think COVID, the pandemic, kind of smashed the third volume. But you definitely got to pick out. You got to take a. You definitely have to check out Outer Darkness. I would describe it as a space horror thriller. It has multiple characters. It's produced by or it's published by Image. It's their Skybound, and Skybound does a really great job with pulling in lots of characters. If you're familiar with Rat Queens, any of these larger multi-character books, this does a great job. And the lead character is Captain Riggs. I think the ship is called the Chevron or Charon, but he is like he is in the forefront, but he has characters supporting him, pushing him. They all have their different personalities, and basically they're in space. Humanity realized that space is not safe. It has aliens, but the main thing to worry about is horrors. Okay, there's different types of ghosts, supernatural beings, and that's like the main pull there. I don't want to give away too much, not too many spoilers, but basically you can't tell if Captain Riggs is good, bad, or just delusional. There's a hidden gem of like romance as well. This is a really great book. It's not for kids. It's violent, a lot of blood in here, scary. You kind of get a Ghostbuster vibes, but it's in space, and it is an absolute hidden gem if you hadn't picked it up. And I just we'll share some screenshots of this later, but when you see Captain Riggs, his suit is just dope. He has a popped up collar. He looks good. It's amazing. You got to pick up Farmhand if you like horror, space, and just a whole separate different genre. I've never seen anything like this, combining space and horror like this. It's really good.
All right, cool. I just want to say, like, all the books that we're reviewing are not for kids. So these are like really these are all indie books. So indie books kind of have more freedom than some of the like traditional Marvel and DC like mainstream books. So they really get more freedom to kind of like use explicit language, use graphic imagery. They kind of go off on their own, and it kind of adds to the story. So it's really more like for like an older audience who appreciate it, who maybe not looking for your stereotypical, mainstream superhero, supervillain type of genre of books and graphic novels.
I do want to say, I want to piggyback off that. I do want to say there is humor in this too. This reminds me of like a darker version of Star Trek. There's love, horror, romance. It does lean more towards the horror, but it does have a lot of different things in it. It's pretty good. You got to pick it up, everybody.
You saying that reminds me of a video game that kind of changed the world about space horror. There's a game called Dead Space. They're making it now. And for those of you who don't know, Dead Space, if you're familiar with Resident Evil, right, this whole zombie thing, that kind of kicked off the horror genre in video games that kind of like became successful. So Dead Space is like Resident Evil with space. So it's about this guy named Isaac Clarke, who is an engineer. He's not even a military person. Right? He's an engineer. And he gets his crew gets this signal from the ship that they were mining, like they all went down, like what happened? And they said they sent out an alert, and they go to investigate. And so Isaac has to fight through all these horrors in order to find out what happened. He's also on a search for his girlfriend because she sent the signal. So he's like, I gotta find out what happened to her. And it's like a blending of like nightmare fuel mixed with aliens, and you really get the sense of horror playing this game. So what you're saying, Out of Darkness, is kind of reminding me of this game a lot.
Dude, I spot on. I forgot about Dead Space. They had an anime, right? I remember watching a couple of animes or shows with that. Yeah.
And
not for kids, y'all.
Yeah, not for kids. Fun fact, they are remaking Dead Space now.
Oh, dang.
So it's going to be
VR. Hopefully in the VR, man.
I can't do it. I cannot play that game in the VR. I would not make it.
I got you.
All right. Going to the next book. Hand it back over to Zach. And it's a book with an interesting title, which I thought was pretty cool. And I like the look of it when he shows it. It's called Virgil.
This book, is not a hidden gem. I know a lot of people haven't picked this book up. This book is literally like a Pulp Fiction, Kill Bill. They describe it as a queer exploitation revenge tale. Listen, everybody, if you love revenge tales, this is one you got to pick up. Basically, this guy's in Jamaica. He happens to be gay. His buddies finds out, and they like take his whole family out. They take everybody out, his whole crew violently. Again, they don't like that he's gay, so they're using a lot of different terms and things like that. So definitely not for kids, but it's so real. And then it's a revenge tale. They dump I'm not gonna explain too much. They dump him for dead, and he comes back with the vengeance. And he's like he's just a regular dude. there's a lot of flashbacks though, a lot of like loving scenes with him and his friends. He's just trying to, you know, live his life in Jamaica, I guess, and he doesn't. And they're trying to flee. They're trying to get enough money to flee, but the people does pull him back, and it is amazing. Definitely Pulp Fiction vibes, Kill Bill vibes. I won't tell you how it ends. A lot of betrayal. Like I was devastated at the end. I tell everyone to read this book. Like if you love revenge tales, like if you love Kill Bill, what's that Korean one? Old Boy.
Oh,
man,
yes. Yes.
This is the book, man. It is violent. It is violent, but it's a love story. They intersperse like romance with his lover, and they want to flee. This is a great book, man. And I just want to just make sure everyone knows who it is, because I know I didn't pick it up. I was like, man, what is this? As soon as I saw Revenge Tale, I was like, man, I'm picking it up. It's really good, everybody.
I have not read this book, and this is new for me, but I'm loving what I'm hearing. I really want to get through and understand like what's happening with the character. I love the whole revenge process, and the fact that he's gay and dealing with that is on top of it. And I just love the art from the book cover, at least. So if you can hold that up one more time, just like that cover, bring it a little bit closer, like a frame of the mic, even. Yeah, that art is really clean. It reminds me of James Marshall art.
It's really good.
Yeah. All right. So we're going to end it, but not end it. I have one more book that I really want to talk about. I spoke to Zack about this.
Dude, I want to talk about this book too, man.
And it's so good. So it is called Black. It's made by Black Man Studios. And I'm just going to tell you the tagline that got me hooked up. It says, "What if only Black people had superpowers?" And I was like, what? And I was so right about it. I got to see what this is about. Like, that sounds too crazy and far-fetched. And that's basically the premise of the book. So I think it kind of got a little bit inspired by what happened with Trayvon Martin. It's taking some examples from that. So this guy is like just in the neighborhood doing his thing, you know, hanging out with his friends. He has on his hoodie. He's walking home. And the police are harassing him. Like, you know, stuff that's going on right now. It's been constantly going on. And so they harass him. They mess with him. And then they, you know, thinking he has a weapon, they draw out on him and they kill him. And I'm like, wait a minute. I thought this was about superpowers. But there's a catch. You have like kind of like almost like in the Bible in a sense, you have to die once so you can never die again. So it's like a reincarnation. So he gets killed and he's in the ambulance and they're taking him, you know, like, okay, he's DOA, he comes back to life. And so now he has his superpowers. And that's the kind of case with almost every Black person. They have to kind of go through like this rebirth in order to get them. And it becomes about two factions. There are the Black people who are trying to help other Black people that have powers and kind of still keep it covert. So like the whole world doesn't know and try to experiment on them. They just help people and do their thing. But then there's the other group who like work with the government, and the government wants to use them as weapons of mass destruction. So it's like it's still like this kind of slave type of treatment in some sense, because like you're hooked up with the government and they use you, you do what you're told, you know, you get a house, you get food and all that, but you are still a puppet for the government. You're not your own person. So I found out about this on Kickstarter, and I just put my money in when I read about it in the print, like, you know, I'm dumping it. I want to be a part of it. And I was able to get the Kickstarter edition of the book. So this is the Kickstarter graphic novel cover, which kind of has that similar picture from Malcolm X. You know, that picture of him looking out the window with the gun.
Oh, shoot, you're right.
So it's that imagery on the front of him holding his hand with the powers. So this main character, Kadeem, he has like the power. His name is Kareem Jenkins, and he has the power to like kind of come up with almost any power. Like most people are limited to just one, but he has multiple powers. So this is the original cover for the first issue.
Yeah, that's the one I read from the library.
Yeah, so it's like that Trayvon, looked like very similar Trayvon Martin vibes.
Listen, I cannot speak any more highly about this book. Okay, the moment you talk about this book, like almost conspiracy theory-esque, but then coming back to life. I got X-Men vibes. I got like Magneto, Professor X vibes. I was like, dude, this is, and also it was timely. Like for the generation that I was born in, you know what I mean? It's like, dang, this could. It felt like, I know it's sci-fi or whatever, but it felt like it could happen. Like, dang, this could like be like a legitimate thing. And I thought this was a great book. I've never told you this book. I never told you this before. This is in my top 50 books. I'm not even joking. Wow. I'm not even joking. It's at the bottom. Okay. But the reason why is because it felt like static shock to me. It felt like if people dumped in more money like to this, I could see this like they had You have to throw some pictures up, dude. Like when these characters, they're like I don't know how to describe it, like street level. They're not like multiversal, dimensional character, not
Right.
even like world beaters. I'm like, dang, these characters are like this could happen. This could legitimately happen. There's a
Like
really
everyday people.
they're like regular people, and I was like,
Yeah.
I got Static Shock vibes, and then it just like ended. I'm like, dude, they could do so much with these characters. I think this could also turn into like an animation or something. I loved it. I loved it. I loved all the characters at the end. Go ahead.
No, I know at one point in time there was talks of turning this into like either an animated thing, or a live action movie. So I know that was in the works. I actually had the pleasure of meeting the author, or one of the authors' name is Kwanzaa, and I'm probably going to mispronounce it. His last name is Osajefo. And I got to meet him at a Comic-Con a couple of years ago, and I got him to sign like my first couple of issues of the book, as well as one of the artists, Kerry Randolph. And I know I was talking to them about the book, and they were like, well, it's not just a one-off. It's actually a trilogy. So there was Black, right? And that kind of went down, and people were like into it and like it. Then they came out with the sequel. And the sequel, yes, there's a sequel.
Is it AF though? Is the Black AF one?
Yes. So it's Black AF.
That was different. That was the girl, though. That was the girl.
Here we go. Black AF. So
I like
this take because it's different. It's about a girl named Ellie Franklin. She's 15 years old, and she lives in rural Montana. And she has to be one of the most powerful people on the planet. So she was raised different. She's adopted. She's raised by like white patriotic parents. So she is like has a different view of America. So she's like just learning that black people with power has become a public thing, because now like you get in broadcast, like what's going on. I thought I always had to hide my power. And so she goes out to like make a different name for herself. Like there's the government and the news are spinning them as like evil and bad and terrorists, and they're doing all this stuff, and we got to stop them. And she's like, no, we help people. We're good. And she actually takes on the name Good Girl. That's like her code name, and she's trying to help. But there's like this mixture of some negativity with some positivity. So she's trying to learn. And I won't spoil it, but she kind of comes into an encounter with some of the other Black characters. And then she has almost a metamorphosis with a change of heart. Like, maybe what I was doing isn't all right.
I loved Black AF. I thought that was like almost like Superman-esque, all-star Superman-esque vibes from that. I thought the story was more seamless because her character was like good all the way through. I feel like in Black, it was like up and down, up and down. And then like at the ending of Black, this is why I felt like Invincible, like because the characters are so like the way they look, the way their powers. And it was kind of like at the end, you see like a whole mess of, there was like a boatload of characters, like 30 characters. Remember at the end, there's like, it's like a whole squad. And I'm like, dude, who are these whole squad of? And then they're gone. And then they're gone. They're literally like gone. And I was like, dude, where's the like volume 2? So when Black AF came out, I was like, dude, where are all these people? Who was the other? Do you remember the other guy who was sitting in that dome? He was the leader. He could time travel or something.
Yeah. So I'm here to answer that.
This book is good, man. I got to pick this up in animation. I would watch it. It's go ahead.
Yeah. So to add to that, so the finale, which is out currently now. So we have Black AF, and then White. So White is the finale of this whole series, and in White you get to see some of those other characters come back.
Oh, for
real.
So
what happens in White? There's this guy who's like part of the government program, right? And so he was like, I need to have my own superpowered white people for the government to battle against the Black people. So it's like that's what happens. And it's like he's the mayor of a town, and it's like his father's like president, so they work together with the army and everybody. They're trying to like have super enhanced people.
Hey, do you own that book? Do you own it?
Yes, there's several.
Give it to me.
There's several of them, and actually, what's kind of tricky is that they can't figure out the formula of how to like get powers. So they actually start experimenting on some of the Black people and taking their powers from them.
Oh shoot!
And using it to work.
Yeah. Dude,
so it's good. It's good.
I thought it was solid, man. That was solid. I thought both of them are solid.
Yeah,
both of them are solid. Just the character diversity idea. It's good, man.
Yeah,
those are some good picks, by the way.
Yeah, so those have been our top 6 graphic novels. If you really like what you're seeing and want to know more, curious, please don't forget to drop a comment below. We'll be happy to share this out with you and talk with you to help you kind of help on that journey. But before we end it, there's one more thing I want to share out. So like we couldn't get through all the Black characters. There's way too many to go through, but I have a really excellent resource that can kind of help you out. It's a website called World of Black Heroes, and they have all the Black heroes, well, not all, but really a lot of Black heroes that have been developed and you may not know of. And it's a website that gives like the bio, their first appearance, their powers and abilities, and a little backstory with them as well. So I'm going to throw this up on the screen real quick. And there we are, World of Black Heroes. And they got them by different categories, but one of my favorite is if you go to this little drop-down bar, you can see these are the superheroes. So they're classified alphabetically. It goes numerically first, and you can just see by A. Like these are all the characters that have a name starting with A that are African American. Cool. And I just love it. It's like it's endless, like just kind of going on and on and on. You know, so I really love this site. So they got the heroes, and they have villains.
Oh, dope.
So like I just like this was a really good resource, and it just kind of opened up everything. So I'm going to get to one particular person I wanted to kind of show off a little bit. Oh, they have a picture of it. I think I missed it. All right, so they have a bunch of characters. Like you said, they have their bios. But I want to really show you one real quickly that a lot of people didn't know about. And it's this one, Bloodstorm. So this is one of my favorite characters. It's a character from a different reality. It's Storm, but she was bitten by a vampire. And she became Bloodstorm. Yeah. Once again, this is a great resource that has tons of different characters that you can search up, African American and African characters that are in the comic industry. Okay. So I want to thank you for joining us and coming along on this ride. I really appreciate having my boy Zack here to kind of give you his one-on-one and personal appearance and feelings about his favorite graphic novel starring African American lead. Anything else you want to leave for the public?
Hey man, don't forget to subscribe. Smash that like button to Fiction Ink Flow, okay? You gotta do it, you guys. So you can keep bringing your heat, fire, all that good stuff.
All right, and we'll catch you next time on Fiction Ink Flow. All right, everybody. Peace.
Peace.
Ink Flow. I'm your host, Joseph. Fiction Ink Flow. I'm your host, Joseph. Fiction Ink Flow. If you don't have it, you are truly missing it. What's up? We are talking about Fiction Ink Flow. What's up?